Ladies and gentlemen, it has been so long since we've had an FDL Central, but welcome back to your favorite episodic podcast, the FDL Central, where we talk about everything that is FDL related. It is me, KJ, but I can't take I can't take this one because I'm not your host for today. I'm here as a guest and to provide my wonderful charisma and insight into all things FDL related this week for all of the leagues. But that being said, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce you guys to your new FDL Central host, the one, the only, the myth, and the legend, Debbie. Debbie, I'm going to let you go ahead and take this away.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, KJ. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here, and to be here not only as a guest but as a host. I think I've been here quite a few times as guest with you being the host, and it's always been fun. And it's really exciting for me to have this opportunity to be that take over this podcast, go go on and produce the best content that I can for everybody in our wonderful community. And now that we're done with that, I'd like to give a wonderful introduction to our next guest, Laggy Puppy. So, he's a Star League player who joined last season on the Owls, helping to make them helping to get them all the way to the finals, and now he finds himself leading the Star Dragons to a current record of 5-1, hoping to repeat a little bit of history. How you doing today, Laggy?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling confident.
Nice, nice. And not only do we have Laggy today, but we're also welcomed by a fellow caster and player, Blade. She joined last season being part of the Griffins and Coyotes rosters, and now she finds herself on the Monkeys this season. She's dedicated a lot of time to helping to bring some FDL action to you guys by casting a total of 15 matches so far this season and continues to cast. We might see a little bit more of her this weekend. So, how are you doing today, Blade?
I'm doing great. I didn't know that I've casted 15 matches so far this season. It feels a little high for me right now, but either way, I'm excited to be on FDL Central. Something I've always wanted to do.
Perfect. And I'm glad to have both of you guys on here. So, now let's get things started. Why don't we start with a recap of week seven's action?
I'm down.
We'll be kicking things off with Origin League. So, starting off with Origin League, we had the Seagulls, who unfortunately took a loss to the Eagles in in a series score of 3-1. After that, we had our Griffins taking down the Monkeys 3-1, and then finally our Huskies, who came close, just a little short, in a Game 5 loss to the Vipers. Now, firstly, I'm going to go to you, Blade. Being the Origin player here in our cast, were there any matches here that stood out to you, or any matches that you really wanted to discuss?
I mean, really, the Seagulls and Eagles. If anything, I'm kind of surprised it didn't go five. Those teams are uh, pretty on level with each other. Having scrimmed with them, they're really about the same skill level. I thought that one would have been closer. The Griffins over my Monkeys. I was in that game, and that one was a bit of a heartbreaker. We had hope in game four, and it was dashed from us. We gave up a three goal lead with like a minute and a half left and lost 4-3 in regulation. And the but the and the Vipers over the Huskies is expected. Um, Surprised the Huskies took that to five, really, because the Vipers have just been so dominant.
Yeah, I agree. The Vipers have been pretty dominant. It seems like there's been a little bit of one-sidedness in the Origin League. What are your thoughts, KJ?
So I kind of want to kick off with kind of what Blade said is that with that that Griffins team is just absolutely insane. The fact that they are 6-0, it's just absolutely insane that they can run any lineup, and it seems like nobody in the Origin League can figure them out. The one thing that I do want to say is that Huskies Vipers game. uh, You know, Devil Jacob, big props to him. Probably one of the most deadly players in Origin League. Was able to take out that A lineup of the Unseen and Light. So, and I've seen those two play, and they have a lot of good chemistry. They have they have a really good play style, and they just work well together. But with Devil Jacob, it is very difficult to match that level of intensity that he brings.
I agree. Double Jacob is just one outstanding player in the Origin League, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in a depth next season. Any lasting thoughts, Laggy?
Other than the Griffins are insane, and I think they're gonna pop off even more than they already have this season.
All right. Well, I think that concludes the Origin League for now. Let's move on to the Adept League. So, kicking things off with the Adept League, we had the Hornets taking a 3-1 victory over the Rams. After that, we had our Gators taking a pretty decisive victory over the Huskies in the 3-1 fashion. And then after that, we had another 3-1 victory going to the Owls against the Unicorns. And then the first sweep for this week of Adept comes out from the Eagles over the Hydras in the simple 3-0. After that, another repeating series score of the Griffins taking a victory 3-1 over the Seagulls. And then we have the Penguins taking taking a loss from the Dragons in a sweep. And then we had the Monkeys, who are currently completely defeated in Adept League, having a forfeit loss to the Colts. I believe some of what happened in that match was the Monkeys had some troubles fielding a complete team that night. And then finally, we have the Coyotes taking down the Vipers in a 3-1 fashion. So, firstly, I'll give some of my thoughts on these matches here. I think it was quite peculiar that there were so many one-sided matches here. There wasn't any game fives. Every match was pretty much a 3-1, and I think it was pretty interesting to see the Coyotes A lineup take down the Vipers A lineup, which is the dynamic duo of Rico and Styx. Now, mm, that's all I've got to say right now for the Adept League. I'm gonna kick it to you, Laggy. What are your thoughts on some of the Adept matches?
Um, I don't have much on Adept.
All right,
Sorry.
no worries. Yeah, it was definitely one-sided. It's definitely hard to come up with some words. It's just very dominant. All right, next, Blade. Do you have anything to say?
I mean, not a whole lot. I mean, it is it's still, yeah, very surprising that there were no game fives, and yeah, the Monkeys forfeit was very unfortunate. They had one player, and they were trying to get uh and they were trying to pull somebody up from our Origin team, but no one was available to play that, so it was uh, very unfortunate that they did have to forfeit that one.
And finally, KJ, what are your thoughts on Adept League?
Okay, so being that Adept League is where I got pulled up into Expert League from, this I kind of prepared a little bit for this. That Hornets Rams game, very surprised to see the Rams take a loss on that one because that Rams team has been so dominant with the chemistry that they have together. The other one, though, that's not really too much of a surprise is the Eagles. And, you've got 007 Bondo on that team, who is just an absolute beast on the field. And it, it doesn't matter. The Eagles have looked very dominant all season. It's just some unfortunate circumstances maybe a game 5 here, game 5 there that did not go their way. But they still find themselves in a really good position, especially since we're starting to, wind down towards the end of the season. And I do want to point out that the Coyotes Vipers game was actually a lot closer than anybody thinks. And the only reason why I say that is because the first 2 games were very close. So it was not like an absolute blowout. The scores were 3-2. So that the Vipers team of Rico and Sticks were able to keep up, and then they were able to win game 3 4-1. But then unfortunately ultimately lost 4-1 in game 4. They're still a solid team. Unsung does unsung things, and it's just one of those things that you just never know what kind of it's any given Sunday, literally, especially whenever it comes to a depth league. A lot of those guys put a lot of time and effort into it, and I mean, you can really tell whenever those games are played.
Yeah, I agree. I think Adept League is one of those special skill ranges where there's players who are just breaking into that skill range, and then there's players who are just breaking out of it. And I think it leads to some pretty interesting teams. Some teams where you can expect them to do really well, and then other teams that just come out hot out the gates. They just come out and they take Adept by storm, and I find Adept League to be very fun to watch. No bias there, not like I just came from that league or anything. So next, we'll move on to the Expert League. Week 7 matchups. We'll be kicking things off here with the Eagles taking a 3-1 victory over the Seagulls. After that, we have the Huskies taking a 3-0 victory over the Vipers. A pretty surprising sweep in my eyes. After that, we had the Monkeys going to game 5 against the Coyotes and coming out victorious. After that, we also have another match going to game 5, this time in favor of the Dragons over the Hydras. But that wasn't our final game 5 for Expert League. We also had the Hornets, the undefeated Hornets, taking on the Colts, the number 2 team in the Stealth Conference, and defeating them in game 5. It was a pretty fun match to watch, if I do say so myself. And finally, we have the Penguins taking down the Unicorns in a 3-1 series score. So I'm going to kick things off with Blade. Were there any games that stood out here to you?
Uh, Not necessarily. I mean, it seemed fairly, uh, just it seemed fairly average, really. I didn't see anything that seemed too exceptional.
Okay, okay. And what about you, Laggy?
A lot of close games. I wish I was able to see all of them, honestly.
We got to tune into FDL next time.
Yeah.
And KJ?
Well, you already know I have a lot to say for this, and that's exactly why you waited for me for last. Eagles taking a win over the Seagulls. No real surprise there. That Eagles team, Debbie, you are on that team. I mean, you guys are absolutely insane, especially with a lot of the stuff that you can do. Huskies taking out the Vipers, though. They did run that A lineup of Burrito and Miller Ball. So it's one of those things that is a surprise, but at the same time isn't a surprise because Miller Ball is absolutely he is absolutely nuts whenever it comes to playing the game. I was really disappointed with the Dragons Hydras game, but that's only because I played in it and was really disappointed in myself. But either way, it is what it is. We move on to next week. The Coyotes taking a loss to the Monkeys, though, that one kind of throws me off a little bit, especially with that A lineup of the Coyotes. But that being said, other than that, the Penguins are just the Penguins. They have proven time and time again how absolutely nuts they are. Cyborg Ted, Fluffy, and I forget who their third player is. Busy. All 3 of them together. I swear, if they made a threes league for anything. If those three got on the team, good luck everybody else.
And my comments on this past week's expert matches. Yeah, I would have to agree with the sentiment of the Eagles over the Seagulls. Going into that match,
Biased.
I I played in it, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous hopping into the lobby and seeing Drax and Reaper stare me down. I thought it was gonna be a bit of a tough matchup there, um, but we were able to come away with a victory, luckily. Um, After that, the Huskies Vipers match. That was a surprise for me, considering the Huskies were completely defeated up until that point, while the Vipers are kind of like in the hunt type of section of expert league. They're not completely down and out, so I think it's a bit of an upset for that match. Um, I think the Coyotes are starting to heat up here towards the end of the season, which is why they took the Monkeys lineup to Game 5. But unfortunately, they were unable to close it out, and the Monkeys got the victory there. And personally, I was rooting for you and the Hydras in the Dragons matchup. I gotta represent my friend there. But
I was rooting for myself too. It's okay.
so still, nonetheless, the Dragons performed really well and were able to come out with that victory. So, the rest of the...
Can I say one more thing about expert?
Go ahead.
The last thing I do want to say about expert is that if you actually take a look at the standings, FDL.gg by the way, take a look at the standings for expert. The stealth conference, the Hornets are in like they're in a perfect position. To have that number one spot. The rest of the league is so close. There is no clear definitive who's going to be on top. And that leads to the next couple weeks for playoff implications for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll get a little bit into that further down in today's episode. But now we move on to Star League. I'm sure this is Laggy's favorite
Laggy,
part.
this is you.
It's your time.
I actually know things.
All right. Now to kick things off for Star League, we have the Huskies taking a 3-0 victory over the Gators. After that, we have the Hydras taking a 3-1 victory over the Eagles. Look at that, KJ. Your team got some revenge.
Hey, let's go.
And then we have the Unicorns taking a 3-1 victory over the Owls. We have the Monkeys also taking a 3-1 victory over the Colts. Next, we have the Coyotes yet again taking a 3-1 victory over the Vipers. Then we have a Game 5 between the Dragons and the Penguins, with the Dragons coming out on top. Next, we have the Griffins sweeping the Seagulls, and then another sweep coming from the Hornets over the Rams. Now, I'm going to kick things off to Blade. Do you have any comments about the Star League matches?
Not really. I mean, looking at it, it seemed like things kind of shook out the way that they should. I did see though that the Penguins took the Dragons to 5, and I mean I think that says something more about the potential of the Penguins than it would the Dragons, who were sitting at the top of their conference.
I think that's fair to say. KJ, do you have any comments?
Oh, I got a lot of comments. The first and foremost, as much as I hate to throw shade at people, Laggy, thank you so much for the putting this Penguins team down a peg, because they were looking like the team to beat besides you guys, and the fact that you were able to put them down a peg, it makes me happy. I'm sorry. I can't just not say any. I can't just go without saying anything. But that being said, the Hydras taking over the Eagles. I mean, that was the Eagles have had a really rough season. Not a little bit of a rough season. It has been rough for them. They're sitting at 0-6 right now. But Senior Shade doing Shade things, doing what he does best. playing the game of Rocket League, and probably some other stuff. But other than that, none of these other games really surprised me. It is nice to see that the Hornets are having a really good season. Bondo and that entire squad looking like a very solid team and looking like a team to beat too.
Absolutely. And last but not least, Laggy, do you have any words for Star League?
Yeah. So Gators versus Huskies. I'm not surprised that the Huskies swept because it was their A lineup versus the Gators C lineup. Hydras versus Eagles. I'm not surprised again because Hydras are insane as they usually are, and they're a rough team to stop. Unicorns versus Owls. That is an interesting one because the Owls just got a new roster, and the Unicorns just picked up a new player who's very, very good. And I can't wait to play him. Honestly, I want to see what he's got.
You-
Sorry.
yeah, it's all good. Go ahead.
Penguins versus Dragons. I played in that match, and I gotta say, Penguins kind of shocked me. I was not expecting that series to go to Game 5. They played really well. Griffins sweeping the Seagulls. That one shocked me because Seagulls have B-Man and Toucan, both pretty solid players. But I don't think they play too well together. And I think the Griffins are also an underrated team in Star. I think they have a lot of potential. And the Hornets picking up Seika a couple weeks ago. I think even though he's a low salary player, he's actually very good. And I think he's a great choice for
Okay, okay. I like it. I like it, Picasso.
them.
All right. Next, we're going to be talking about some Elite League action that took place last week. The highest league in our league, Elite. We're going to kick things off with the Gators taking down the Owls 3-1. Next, we have the Huskies taking down the Eagles 3-1. The Monkeys also taking down the Griffins 3-1. And then finally, the Hydras getting a forfeit win over the Colts. Hey Jay, I'm gonna let you kick things off.
Well, hey, what can I say? Not none of these games really surprised me. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. The Hydras taking a forfeit win over the Colts. The Hydras are an undefeated team. I know me personally, I wouldn't want to play them. But I don't think that was the reason for the forfeit. But that's just maybe start a little storyline drama there. Monkeys taking out the Griffins, Chris with a K, and Cryptic, just absolute beasts on the pitch. Huskies once again proving that they are a dominant team. They proved that last season, made it all the way to the finals. Unfortunately, fell short. But this season, they're looking to do what they couldn't do last season. And the Gators, Moifin is just Moifin. What else can you say? He does absolutely nutty things, and then sometimes he memes. You just never know. But whenever it comes to actually playing a full game, he is all business and he is ready and prepared. So I look to see this elite Gator squad go far whenever it comes to later on in the season.
I would be inclined to agree. I I think for the most part, Elite League kind of played out how I expected it to go. Just some of the same players coming in doing the same things that they did previous seasons. It's history repeats itself. Next, Blade, do you have anything to say?
Uh, not necessarily, but I mean it's uh disappointing to see a Colts forfeit. I know it's a different team than last season, but it just feels like how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, that is true. Man, the Colts went to they. I know they made playoffs last season, didn't they? Didn't
They
they make
won.
finals?
They
Yeah.
won.
They were the season 4 champions for Elite League. and they actually beat the Huskies.
Yes, there we go. Okay, now you're ringing bells for me.
Ding a ling a ling. Sorry.
And Laggy, you got anything to add?
Yeah. So I know this is a big request, but can somebody take down the Hydros? Cause like I nothing personal, feed, but I don't like to see you winning. And
This also coming from the man trying to get him kicked. So just saying, I'm not trying to start no drama, but
he deleted the all of the reactions, so it's not possible now. He outplayed me. That's all I got.
Alright.
we still love Feed.
Yeah, we do
We
love
still
Feed.
love Feed.
Yeah, it's all love.
There's no animosity there.
It's all fun and jokes here. And that concludes week 7's matches. So with that huge breakdown of week 7's matches, we are going to move on to a new segment in FDL Central where we highlight some of the best performances from week 7. We present to you our players of the week. Thank you, thank you. we're gonna
Not a
kick
problem.
things off with Origin League. Now, mind you, these votes, these players of the weeks were voted in by you guys, the community, and by our FDL Central cast. So, without further ado, we will show off our Origin Player of the Week, Angel of the Bronx. Congratulations on being the Origin Player of the Week. Angel of the Bronx had about a 6.69 MVPR.
Nice.
Nice.
Hey, nice.
They got they finish off their week 7 with a 3-1 victory. He was averaging about 812 score per game. Pretty nuts for an Origin League player. I think that's very hard to see that come by. A- they got a total of 13 goals, averaging about 3.25 goals per game. Um, that- they had a couple shots, about 21 actually. They accumulated a whopping amount of 1 assist. They got 10 saves and 2 demos to conclude their performance of week 7. Now, now I'm gonna ask you guys your thoughts on Angel of the Bronx and if you guys were able to capture their or catch their performance this past week. Of course, I'm gonna kick things off with you, Blade. You
Oh
being an
yeah, I
Origin.
was. I certainly was. I certainly was on the receiving end of that. Yeah. Yeah, that was a oh my we couldn't shut him down. He carried, he kind of carried hard in that series, but it just we couldn't stop him. I mean, especially in that last game, like it just storming back and never out of it. It was he was just a threat that we could not figure out. And that's kind of the player that he's been not just this week, but has been this season, is one who's been tough to figure out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hype around Angel of the Bronx, especially coming from Cyprock. He's been very proud of his Origin League team, and I think Angel of the Bronx has a huge part in that. What do you say, Laggy? Were you able to catch any of Angel of the Bronx performance this past week?
Um, I didn't see the match, but he is a very, very outstanding player. And our star team for the Dragons have actually scrimmed his origin team before. And
Really?
although we did score a lot on them as we should because we're a few leagues up, he did stand out to me and I could tell that he was actually a very good player.
If you don't mind me asking, how did that scrim happen?
So Cypra came to Maki and I and said, our origin team thinks they can beat you. I'm like, you're kidding, right? And he's saying that his origin team just uh they're really confident about it. and we get into the match, and we get in comms with them, and turns out I don't think they actually did say that, but they did want to scrim us, though, and honestly, I respect it.
Yeah, I think that's very respectable on both parts. I feel like there's quite a few Origin players out there who might shake in their boots a bit when they're facing a star team, and I think I commend the Origin Griffins for being willing to step onto the field and try to take you guys on, and I commend you guys for also taking your time out of the day to give the Origin Griffins some practice like that. I feel like there's a lot of instances where higher league teams aren't they don't really give as much time to the lower league teams within their own franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I, j-
finally, oh,
I,
go ahead, go ahead. I
I
didn't
was
mean to cut
just
you off.
no, you're okay. I kind of waited, but I was just gonna say, yeah, I remember being in that position, always loving to verse those higher ranked people, and a lot of times nobody wanted to verse the lower ranked people, like, because it's just a free win, but it does help.
1000%. And finally, KJ, do you have anything to add to Angel of the Bronx?
I do. I always do. I always have something to add. You should know this. I always have something to say because I'm a loudmouth, and to your point, Laggy, um, the fact that they did that, they went after you guys and said, you know what, let's do it, and because I was there for that conversation, I was there for that whole thing. I was there for the challenge to be issued, and the acceptance of it. So it was all in good fun. But even still, the fact that you guys took out that time to be able to help, the lower leagues try to help them improve, because that's one of the things about FDL that we all love is that whenever scrims happen, it's a good way for a lower level player to be able to improve on themselves. But one thing that you did not mention, Debbie, and this is another reason why Angel of the Bronx is player of the week. This man shot 61.9%. That is a huge stat that was omitted. And this is how much farther I'll even go into this. He shot better than every other player of the week. I just want to leave with that. 61% for Origin, that is not an easy task to do.
Yeah, shooting 13 for 21. That is definitely an impressive stat. Overall, I thought Angel of the Bronx had an impressive performance. I mean, when I saw that score line of 812 points per game, that's an incredibly hard stat to obtain. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I hit 500 plus in a game, I'm like, all right, you know what? I played pretty well this game, let alone 800 score. Jeez. But if anything, if nobody has anything else to add, I'd like to move on to our Adept League Player of the Week. Without
I'm
further ado, this man is quite popular. He's known for inventing a mechanic, actually. Some of you may have guessed this player based off of that hint alone. Our Adept League Player of the Week is none other than Squashy, voted in by you guys in an overwhelming amount, actually, and with agreement from the FDL cast. So, MV or Squashy this past week had a total MVPR of 6.07, getting a clean sweep over the Penguins, I believe, with a score of 1960, with a score per game of 653.3, getting a total of 7 goals with a 2.3 average goal per game, shooting with 41% accuracy off of 17 shots. He had 5 assists, 3 saves, and about 4 demos in those 3 games. So, I'm going to kick things off with KJ. Do you have any thoughts about Squashy? I'm going to leave myself for last because I personally casted that game.
I mean, you've got somebody who created the Squashy Flick. Yes, I do know what it's called. I pay attention. Um, 653 points per game. I mean, that's an incredible stat in of itself. You know, as I have said this a couple times, shooters be shooting, and making he's a very smart player. I would not be surprised if he were to find himself in higher than what he's at now come next season, because the improvement has just been absolutely incredible to see, and to see where he is now. It's just it's mind blowing how much improvement has happened with Squatchy. So other than that, that is all I have for him. So congratulations on your Player of the Week.
Absolutely. And Blade, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, it just impressive. I mean, the production numbers, 2.3 goals a game and one and 2/3 assists per game. That adds up to producing 4 goals a game. That's a lot of offensive generation from one player. It's going to win you a lot of games. And yeah, KJ said shooters be shooting, and he's shooting really well. I've really found league average is about 33%, and he's shooting it over 40% for the past week, which is that's hard to stop.
Yeah, I would agree. I think like you said, his offensive performance is very highlighted when you compare it to like his defensive performance. The fact that he only had 3 saves across 3 games, he only had to make 1 save a game. Um, that and you could also attribute it to the fact that they had so much offense, they rarely had to play defense. It
Well, it's the best defense.
exactly. That and then he also accumulated 4 demos across the 3 games. So next, I'll go to you, Laggy. Do you have any comments about Squashy and him obtaining Player of the Week this past week?
Squashy is nuts. He doesn't belong in a depth. Y- I've 1v1'd him a few times, and he actually beats me in 1v1s. He, like, 2 leagues below me, and he's beating me. Like, they're close games, and I love 1v1ing him. He's a really solid player. And I think he really does deserve this season, the Player of the Week.
Thank you for your comments, Laggy. Now I'm gonna close it off for Squashy here with my final comments. Yeah, I remember when Squashy first came into the league, I thought this kid was nuts. I think he might have been in Origin at the time when he first joined the league, and then he made his way into Adept this season, and I was like, "Oh, this kid's gonna be good. He's definitely gonna be one of the best players in Adept." And then when I found out that he plays on a Switch, that just blew my mind. The fact that this kid can be so good and so mechanical at his level while playing on a Switch that hits maybe 30 frames a second is absolutely nuts. And then while I was casting his match in the final game, I believe they went into overtime against the Penguins. And to win the whole series, Squashy got a flip reset against the Penguins in a depth league. Who does that? Player of the Week, Squashy. Congratulations. And with that, we will be moving on to our Expert League Player of the Week. This man is a captain, and through his performance, I think he is leading by example here. Let's give a big round of applause to our expert player of the week, Cyborg Ted, who got an MVPR of 6.52. He finished his week 7 with a 3-1 victory over the Unicorns, accumulating a total of 3,155 score. That's on average 788.75 per game. He got 9 goals, which is about 2.25 goals per game, with 34% accuracy off of 26 shots. He had 0 assists, but yet he had 14 saves across those 4 games. He was averaging 3.5 saves per game and accumulated 5 demos. Now, I know for a fact this match took place off stream because I believe it took place on this past Tuesday. But we are going into week 8, and I wanted to see if you guys had anything to add about Cyborg Ted. He's been in and out of the league. He's been around. He's been leading these Penguins who are 5-1. I'll kick things off with you, Leggy. Have you heard anything about Cyborg Ted?
I haven't heard anything about him, but looking at the stats, he looks like an annoying person to verse. I mean that in the most respectful way possible. Annoying to verse is actually a good thing. 14 saves and 5 demos. It's always rough versing somebody who doesn't let anything in the net, and big respect for him for that.
All right, and Blade, do you have anything to add about Cyborg Ted?
Yeah, I mean, like I vaguely recognize the name. It looks a little familiar, but yeah, the goals per game. I mean, two and a quarter is not too bad. Accuracy's kind of right on the league average, but yeah, the saves definitely stands out. 3.5 saves a game. That's frustrating. 5 demos, not a lot, but I mean, it's over one a game. Also frustrating to play against. Just sounds like an irritating opponent, which is kind of exactly what you want to be. Uh, and it shows with him getting Player of the Week.
And going off of that demo comment, I this demo comment or the demo stat line, yeah, it shows 5 demos, but I don't think it truly shows the player's full play style, because you can get 5 demos, but then you can also get something crazy like 28 bumps in a game. Like, I feel like I wish there was a way for Rocket League to actually show, or maybe on ball chasing to show the amount of bumps that players get, because bumps can be super integral in a play style, and I don't think demos accurately highlight that for players. But enough from me. I'll kick things off to KJ.
I am so glad you waited for me for last. I have actually had the fortunate, um, I guess, the fortunate graces of being able to play with Cyborg Ted. And let me tell you something, the demos are not just random, they are positional demos, they are clearing out the net demos. So he is all over the field. Those 14 saves, he is a goal line master. Good luck getting anything past him. And I should know, because some of the nutty saves that he pulled off whenever him and I played some games together was just absolutely insane. I'm talking goal line, ball 1/8 of the way out of the goal, and it is being saved. He is just an absolute defensive machine. That being said, to have the offensive presence that he does, to put on 788 points per game or score per game, is an even more telling stat of that he can play both sides of the ball, which when it comes to expert league is sometimes something very difficult to do. You can have a player that's very good defensively, but whenever it comes to the offense, it lacks a little bit. Or, vice versa. Great offensively, struggles defensively. It's just one of those things of the consistencies. And Cyborg Ted has proven time and time again, every time he plays, he is one of the most consistent expert league players.
I have to agree. Being on the Eagles, I've faced Cyborg Ted at least once this season, and we've scrimmed against the Penguins a few times, and I feel like Cyborg Ted is kind of an underrated or overshadowed player on the Penguins, because usually you have Busy and Fluffy Knight doing that dirty work of being disruptor, while Cyborg Ted usually plays a positional play style. He's very defensive, and I think we can see that here in with the 14 saves. Um, but like you also mentioned, his demos are very key, and you see his stat line where he has 0 assists, but it also could have been that every single one of his demos got his team a goal. And I think it just helps to add to Cyborg Ted's overall arsenal of like how deadly of a player he is, and definitely leading by example this week for Expert League.
You know what they say, can't save the ball if you're dead.
Absolutely. He just needs there to not be a goalie.
Yep.
Now, enough about Expert League. We move on to
We can skip
Star
past
League.
this one, right? Because the person is already here, right? Like we can skip past this one, right?
Yeah, he probably doesn't matter.
Yes, so with our Star League Player of the Week, they were one of the few Star League matches. They participated in one of the few Star League matches that actually went to Game 5. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Star League Player of the Week, Laggy Puppy, who's
Congratulations,
also our
Laggy!
guest here on the show
Yay!
today.
Thank you.
How do you feel about it, Laggy?
Honestly, I don't think I deserve it, but because Michael in that same game, my teammate, he was struggling on ping like half the time, and he was still playing really, really well. So shout out to Michael for that.
Well, even so, I'm gonna go over your stats really quickly. At least you might be acting a bit humble, but Laggy, you performed, man. You had a 5.74 MVPR. You clutched it out in Game 5 to give your team another victory and lead you guys to 5-1. You accumulated 3,200 score, about 652.8 score per game. You got 10 goals in 5 games, which was about 2 goals per game with 33% accuracy off of 30 shots. You had 6 total assists. So even if Michael was, having some a bit of ping issues, you were making sure that the ball got to him and that he was able to score. And then you got 7 saves, which was about 1.4 per game, and you also accumulated 5 demos. So you still did have a standout performance, even if you mm, even if you did have a struggling teammate, or quote unquote struggling teammate.
Yeah, honestly, like everybody in that match played really well. I can't lie. Like the Penguins really surprised me, and I'm happy they did. That was a very fun series.
Now, like I have to ask, if we were to present you with a physical award, now, where would you put it? I'm sure you would, frame it, maybe put it on like the highest desk that you have in your office, an FDL Player of the Week from Season 5.
Ooh,
That's super special.
yeah. See, respectfully, I would probably never look at it. Not trying to be like that super humble guy, but I actually don't think I deserve it for this
Just
week. But
just say file 13. Most
yeah,
people
yeah.
know right about file 13.
I'll put it right over there. You guys see where I'm pointing? Right there.
And all right, Blade, KJ, do you guys have anything to add about Laggy Puppy's Player of the Week?
Blade, you got anything?
I mean, I really Laggy. I feel like the correct answer on if you got an award, I feel like if it was a certificate, it should go on the fridge. Great place for things. No, but I mean, you look like you put up a good performance, and I mean, you say your teammate was struggling, but if anything, I just think that goes to bolster your case that even with a struggling teammate, you were still able to put up the numbers that you did and pull out a win in 5 games. It's not the easiest thing to do, but you got it done.
Yeah, I honestly, I have to agree. Congratulations on the Player of the Week. Regardless of whether you think it's deserved or not, it is well deserved. Because if your teammate is having issues with ping, I know that causes a lot of that causes a lot of struggles, especially being only a team of two. Sometimes when you have that third player when you're playing threes, it's a different story because you have an extra person that's like able to make any coverings that need to happen. But when you're playing 2v2, it is very difficult. You sometimes find yourself in unfortunate 2v1 positions, and the fact that you were able to help your team pull out a 3-2 win, and especially I do have to throw this out there. I was taking a look at it. You guys absolutely came back in game 5 and just wiped the floor with the Penguins. That last game score was 5-1. It was not close. The all the other games relatively close in score and everything, but the fact that you were able to do that to help bring Michael, back into we'll just say, back from being on ping issues, um, is a credit to how well you play. And so definitely don't be humble about this, because you absolutely pop off every time I watch you play.
Yeah, I think Laggy Puppy's always the player that everybody likes to talk about when it comes to Star League. So I'm honestly not surprised, especially with the performance and numbers that he put up. So congrats again to you, Laggy.
Thank you, thank you.
But now we move on to our final league, Elite League. So this player, you guys might know. So his name has a K in it. He's very associated with a particular league. You might know them as the Monkeys. He's pretty popular amongst the entire community. Our Elite League Player of the Week.
It's not Chris with a K.
It is Cryptic. Cryptic with an astonishing performance. When I saw these numbers, I could not believe them myself. Cryptic with an MVPR of 9.27. 9.27. Our next closest player of the week had a 6.69, which was Angel of the
Nice.
Bronx. That is insane. He did it in 4 games, right? Getting a win over, who was it here? It was,
Griffins.
yes, the Griffins. He got a total of 4,104 score across 4 games, meaning he averaged 1,026 games or 1,026 score per game.
Dang, Cryptic, you played 1,026 games. Come on, man. Good touch grass.
He had a total of 18 goals, meaning he scored 4.5 goals a game with 56.25% accuracy, the second highest accuracy amongst our players of the week here. He had 32 shots in total, averaging 8 shots per game. He had no assists. No assists. But he also joined Cyborg Ted with 14 saves, 3.5 saves a game, and got 4 demos. This man, uh, he he definitely had a player of the week performance right here. Um, I don't even know where to begin. So I'm gonna kick things off to Laggy Luck. Elite is the next closest league to you guys. So what is Cryptic's performance? How does it stand out to you?
I've seen Cryptic play before, like in the Foreman server and stuff, or the Foreman's channel. But after seeing this, I don't think I've actually seen him fully try, and I'm afraid to actually see that because 1,000 score per game—that's insane. And the 14 saves, and it's honestly very nice for Chris with a K to just let his teammate do all the work. I look forward to versing him more in the future.
Yeah, thank you for the words, Leggy. Blade, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. You know, like, uh, other casters in professional sports will say like that those are video game numbers, and like I know this is a video game, but like these are video game numbers for this video game. Like that's it just it doesn't feel real. Like it just feels like he shouldn't have those kinds of numbers at this level and to just be that dominant. Um, just really at a loss for words for that. That's just absolutely incredible.
And finally, KJ, do you have anything to add?
I got a couple things to add. First and foremost, the Griffins and Chris with a K, they were out playing Rocket League while my man Cryptic here was playing Call of Duty. Because that is a Call of Duty score right there. That is an online Call of Duty score right there, playing domination or whatever. It doesn't even matter. That is just absolutely insane. And I have to keep myself PG rated because there are some other words that I would love to put in there, but I can't. The whole assist thing, having 0, well, when you're scoring 1,026 a game, you don't really need any help. I'm just saying, but definite, credit to Cryptic for his performance, but also credit to his teammate Chris with a K. Letting Cryptic just do his thing and do what he needs to do, and for them to be able to get such a win over the Griffins. But that being said, one thing I do want to say though is that there is a point 0.1 difference between Cryptic and Chris with a K. So literally either one of them could pop off at any time. So this Monkeys team, definitely one to watch out for. Had a rough start to the beginning of the season. Looking pretty good now, and especially with those score lines, watch out everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when you have 0 assists, when you're putting up 18 goals in 4 games, I I agree. I don't think you need to get assists, and it's like when you look at 18 goals, 4.5 goals a game, like you think, okay, well, was he playing any defense or was he just playing pure offense? This man still had 14 saves. This man was averaging 3.5 saves a game. So it's not like he was just pure offense. He was getting it done on the other side of the field. He was where he needed to be. And it's just absolutely crazy that someone, let alone an elite league where you have the best of the best in the game competing against each other, was able to achieve stats like this. I'm at a loss for words. Congratulations to you, Cryptic, for getting Player of the Week in our elite league.
And congratulations to all of the players as well.
Absolutely,
Very
everybody.
well deserved.
And now we're going to move on to another new segment. We got our Week 7 PRC Power Rankings, where we look over and we discuss some of the power ranks that our PRC committee, or our Power Rankings committee, puts out there. So we'll be kicking things off here with the Origin League. We have the Griffins over here in first place. We have the Vipers in second place. Huskies sitting in third. The Seagulls sitting in fourth. Eagles sitting in fifth. And finally, the Monkeys sitting at sixth. Now, I'm gonna kick things off here with Blade. This is your league. So, do you have anything to add to the powers to the PRC? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think some teams should have been in different spots or and whatnot?
Really, I mean, I think this is really just about where it needs to be. I mean, Griffins are, yeah, I'd say Griffins are number one. Really, the Vipers are a very close second. I really think 1 and 2 for those two, as can kind of just be a week by week thing as to how they play. But the Huskies, Seagulls, and Eagles, all the same record, but they all do play. Fairly similar level, and yeah, the my Monkeys team, it's it's been a rough season so far.
Yeah, but I was told a little bit before this game that the Monkeys got a pretty incredible victory recently, but we'll talk about that later. I don't want to spoil things. So the season might not be completely over for the Monkeys, but um, yeah, I looking from what I've seen from the Origin League, I also would be inclined to agree with this. The When I first saw Origin League, I thought I didn't know the Griffins players, so I mainly looked at the Vipers as that deadly team. I thought they were going to be the number one team, and then over the course of the season, it's the Griffins have definitely surprised me. They came out swinging. They took Origin League kind of by storm, and it doesn't surprise me at this point in the season to see where the Griffins and the Vipers are sitting at. Um, it doesn't surprise me with the Huskies either. I thought the record would be a little bit higher, a little bit more positive for them. They're currently sitting at 2-4, but nonetheless, I still agree with the fact that they are the third most dominant team in Origin League. What are your thoughts, Laggy?
Um, so I think the Griffins aren't going to be stopped anytime soon. Honestly, they're just insane, and they. I've only seen one of their games. I can't lie, but that one game, it just blew me away how under control Angel of the Bronx had the entire game under. That's all I got. I don't know much about OG. I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. I appreciate it though, and I'm sure the Griffins do appreciate the kind words. KJ, do you have any further dissection of our Origin League?
No, I completely agree with this whole with this with the PRC has in here. Everything looks like it should. Griffins obviously need to be at number one, being the only undefeated Origin team, and the Vipers being a close second at 5-1. I agree with everything that's on there. We can move on.
All right, perfect. You're good. If you guys are good to move on, let's move on. Well, we got the Adept PRC next, where we have the Gators sitting on top, sitting in the first place spot. Next, we have the Hornets, then the Eagles. We have Unicorns sitting in fourth, the Colts at fifth, and finally the Owls at sixth. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Adept League, I believe, has about 16 teams, if I'm correct, which is a lot of teams to break down. And when I look at this Adept PRC, there's a lot of teams here with the same record, and I was fortunate enough to get uh I would like to say a few notes, but I got a single note from the Adept PRC. When I asked for some further breakdown from them, the only note that they passed for me was for the reasoning for the Eagles being at 3, and it simply says Bondo. So, so I saw that and I knew exactly what they meant, and I was like, all right, fair. You know what? All right, Gators, Hornets, they're sitting at 5-1. I could see why they're in first and second, and then I can see why the why Bondo places the Eagles, who have the same series record as the rest of the PRC teams, at third. But with that being said, Laggy, did you have any thoughts, any comments or concerns about the Adept League PRC?
Bondo is a dangerous player to play, and I'm sad that I can't see the Dragons up there. Honestly, maybe someday soon. That's all I got.
The Dragons aren't doing too bad themselves. We did see the Dragons have Squashy, and they have their secret weapon, the Squashy Flick. So maybe we see them sneak into here in the next 3 weeks, I believe.
Yeah,
4.
4. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometime.
Technically, we
forward
are
to
getting ready to kick off week 8, and then 9,
Yeah.
10, and 11.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I try to be.
Technically, you're right. All right, Blade, do you have anything to add to the Adept PRC?
No, I mean, just looking at it, it looks like I mean, at least the top 6, maybe the top 8 it seems like there's a lot of parity in this league, that there's a lot of good teams, who, and I looking at this, like, that's going to be a very interesting playoff race.
I'd be inclined to agree, but definitely going to be tough to cut down to those top 6 teams here in Adept. What do you say, KJ?
I feel like Gibbs right now from RLCS because I'm like the info guy. Gators, you got Ken on that team. Ken looking to make another playoff run. Obviously, sitting at has his team at number 1 on the PRC. Looks good to me. Hornets 5-1 looks good to me. But the one that's really surprising is that the Eagles, Unicorns, Colts, Owls, and 2 other teams. So there are 6 teams sitting right now at 5-2 or 4-2. Excuse me. The Dragons being one of them, and I believe the Unicorns being the other team as well. But yeah, I can understand why the Eagles were put at number 3 because 007 Bondo doing 007 Bondo things. And that's all I got to say about that because everything else looks good.
Yeah, I think I think I'm good with the Adept League PRC. Like, it makes sense why the Gators and the Hornets, and if Bondo's all what the Eagles need to be above the rest, I mean, who am I to argue with that? So let's move on to Expert League PRC, where here in the Expert League PRC we have the undefeated Hornets sitting at 6-0. They're in the first place spot. Next, we have the number 2 team, the Penguins. Then we have the Colts. In fourth place, we have the Monkeys. In fifth place, we have the Eagles. And then in sixth place, we have the Dragons. Before I have any comments, uh, I'm going to kick things off to Blade. Um, the Expert League, that's a few leagues above you. But I know you have the wonderful opportunity of being a caster, so you get to catch some of these matches. So based off of that, would you be inclined to agree with this PRC decision where they place these teams? Blake?
Oh, excuse me, I was muted and just talking. I will try again now. Not the first time this has happened. Um, oh boy. Yeah, no, but the it looks like that the Hydras got the snub this week as the as another 3-3 team there, and just looking at the some of the basic stats here. I don't know how the Hydras played last week, but they have a positive 18 goal differential. The Dragons negative 17. So uh, I don't know if the Dragons just had a bad start and they're looking better, and it's maybe a little opposite for the Hydras. But but yeah, some of those lower spots are looking close because there's also a couple 2-4 teams that could end up in the discussion too.
Now, with your whole entire comment about the Dragons, some of the information that I was passed was that yes, they the Dragons do have a worse win differential and I believe goal differential as well. But they were both sitting at 3-3, and um,
Dragons beat the Hydras.
yes, the Dragons beat
Ah,
the Hydras after just
that
making a roster change.
that there's my answer.
And I believe the Dragons and Hydras have been Dragons, Hydras, and Eagles have been bouncing in and out of this top 6 for Expert League. So like KJ mentioned earlier, the especially on the Courage Conference, there's a lot of teams that are right there on the cusp. So I think that it's fair to say that this Expert League has a few spots that are very volatile, and it's very possible that we see changes, different teams each week. And with that being said, uh, KJ, do you feel inclined to agree with this Expert League PRC?
Nope, I think the Hydras should be number one, but that's just me because that's my team. But yeah, no, I don't have any issues with it. I agree with the Dragons and Eagles being up there. Um, Dragons taking that win 3-2 over the Hydras. Definitely, every team that's on there should be where they are, and they are ranked where they are. So I have no qualms or issues there.
And finally, Laggy, do you have anything to add to the Expert PRC?
I think it's looking pretty good right now. Just saying. In the future, though, not biased or anything, but the Dragons might get up there.
Yeah, no
Not,
bias or
no,
anything.
no bias at all. No.
No, yeah, you're just a really big Dragons fan. I get it. Maybe you look up to Hawkish.
I do. I really do.
Just messing with you. And no disrespect to Hawkish either. Um,
Yes, yes. What do you mean?
okay, all right.
How dare you disrespect my GM?
That's right. Well, I'm calling him out. So
Okay, that's all you.
Well,
sorry. Continue.
personally, I agree with these Expert PRC. Um, I think despite what Ant has said, I think Hornets and Penguins could be interchangeable. The Penguins do have a loss on the record. They're 5-1, but I know that their only loss was when they had to use a reserve. They had to bring in an adept player up
Don't
into
do that to me.
what?
Don't do that to me because I played in that game.
Look, I'm sorry, KJ. The Penguins are a completely that starting
I
lineup.
know.
Like you mentioned from your using your own words,
I
you said if they were
know.
in a threes league, they would be absolutely unstoppable. So to take away one of their players, I think it's not the full strength of that Penguins roster. So I think it could be argued that they could still be the number one expert team. But that's all I wanted to add to this expert PRC. Does anybody else have any more comments?
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to Star League. So for Star League PRC, we have the Dragons sitting in the number 1 spot. We have the Huskies sitting in number 2. Griffins at number 3. 4 is the Seagulls. 5 is the Hornets. And then finally we have the Coyotes sitting in 6th place for Star League PRC. And so to kick off our discussion, I'm going to kick it off to you, Laggy.
Everything is looking pretty good here. I like how Star League PRC is looking right now. I do gotta say though, I'm at the start of the season. I wasn't expecting the Huskies to be doing this good. I believe they're 5-1 right now, so we might have to watch out for them in playoffs. But other
Okay.
everything looks beautiful.
Everything looks beautiful. And do you have any insight? I see a lot of teams here that are in the Star League PRC that are sitting at 4-2. Do you have any reasoning as to why they might have ranked them the way they are?
Um, well, the Griffins did be a pretty solid team, which is why I think they're number 3. Seagulls lost to the Griffins, which is why I think they got deranked to 4. Hornets are working their way up, I believe, right now. And Coyotes, I don't have much on.
Okay. Blade, KJ, do you guys have anything to add to Star League? I know this is a little bit out of our element, but
I pay attention though. It's fine. No, everything looks good. Everything looks right where it should be. Dragons obviously a very dominant force to be reckoned with, sitting at number 1. No, I agree with everything that's there.
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, there's looks like that there's a lot of close teams, and um, I didn't I didn't work on the star power rankings at all, so I assume the people that do watch these, do watch those games and do make that power ranking know what they're talking about.
Yeah. I I think it's a I think I'd be inclined to agree with the Star League PRC. Um, some of the teams moving a little bit up or down based off of like week 7's results. So I think this is a pretty fair assessment coming from our Star League PRC. So with that being said, let's move on to our final PRC review for Elite League, our highest league. So right here, we got the Hydras sitting at number 1. We have our Gators sitting at number 2. The Huskies sitting at number 3. Monkeys at 4. Owls at 5. And Eagles at 6. So, KJ, I know like you said, you pay attention. So, is there anything that you would like to add to the league or the Elite League PRC?
I mean, with there being the low amount of teams, only being 8 teams in elite, the way that these rankings are, they're perfect. They are fine. Hydras deserve to be number 1, especially if you're 6-0. Gators looking like a very solid squad, but I think the Gators and Huskies could end up being interchanged. Depends on what happens during this week's games, uh, and especially any games that may be happening tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's interesting to see where the monkeys finish out here. I think it's a fair assessment to put them in fourth place right now, especially having seen Cryptic and his Player of the Week performance. I, I would like to see him bring that forward, and maybe we see the monkeys go in a different direction. But that's all I have to add. Blade, Laggy, do you guys have anything to add?
No, I mean it's. I think that's a fairly cut and dry power ranking right there.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing with what KJ said. Huskies and Gators could definitely be the other way around or this way. I guess we'll find out.
All right. Thank you guys for helping me to review the PRC. Our PRC I feel like gets a lot of flack, so I think it's nice to come out here and like kind of dissect and discuss what is going on and why certain teams have been there. But let's cut to the chase. Let's go to this week's predictions. This week it's our week 8. We're starting to come close to those wonderful magical playoffs, right? So we're going to be going over week 8 schedule. I'm going to be asking you guys your predictions on it. And not only that, but I'm also going to be providing our PRC's official prediction for each series. But we are cutting it close on time. So we're going to do this fast. I'm going to call you and you're just going to say your prediction really quick. Or if you can't give like a series prediction, you can just say who you think is going to win. Does that sound good with you guys?
Sounds good with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start off with Origin League. The first match that we have is the Seagulls at the Huskies. Both teams sitting at 2-4. Blade, who do you have?
I think I'm going to take the Huskies on that one. I do think that they are just the better team.
Okay, that's fair. KJ, who do you have?
I got the Seagulls 3-2. That game's going to 5.
Oh, okay. Things are starting to get spicy already. Laggy, who do you have?
Seagulls 3 too. Also,
Seagulls 3-2. Now, I could be a tiebreaker here. I have
Do
all
it
the
for the
power.
content, Debbie. Do it for the content.
Okay, I'll go Huskies. 3-2 over the Seagulls.
Ooh.
But we have a true tiebreaker. We have the PRC prediction. And the PRC as a whole predicted the Huskies to take it over the Seagulls 3-2. So you can see it there with our wonderful with the work from our wonderful robot man in production. He there actually you can see the PRC predictions. Wonderful. All right. Next, we have the Eagles taking on the Griffins. The Eagles sitting at 2-4. Griffins sitting at 6-0. They're completely undefeated. KJ, who do you have?
And Griffins in 3.
Griffins in 3. Okay, that's fair. You know, Griffins are undefeated. Laggy, who do you have?
Griffins in 4.
Okay. Blade, who do you have?
I think it's also going to be the Griffins in 4.
It's very tough for me. These are my boys. These are the Eagles. It's very hard to go against them. Um, I would say Eagles 3-2. Just cause no bias, none at all. But if you look at the screen, the PRC officially predicted the Griffins to take this in 4. Finally, we have the Monkeys match. The Monkeys sitting at 1-5. Well, they were sitting at 1-5.
No, they
Who
were
would?
sitting at 0-5.
Or yes,
Mm-mm.
yes, they were.
No, no, we
Wait.
were 1-5. That's our second
Oh,
win.
Ooh,
okay. So the Monkeys
ooh.
were sitting at 1-5, and they were taking on the Vipers, who were sitting 5-1. Yeah. So I would ask you guys for your predictions, but this match has already concluded. And let me tell you, it went to game 5 and we had a reverse sweep. Like Blade said, the Monkeys were able to take a win off of the Vipers. So the Vipers will be dropping to 5-2 and the Monkeys going up to 2-5. E-
Hey, wait, the dream is still alive to give Chris with a K an average season.
Look, that's what I'm here for, is to just try to be average for Chris.
And the PRC had the Vipers taking this in 4 games. And but really quick before we move on to Adept, like that, Blade, you must feel great. The your boys came in and they got a win, an upset, if you will, against the Vipers.
Oh, I'd call it an upset. They lost the first game by 2, lost the second game by 4, and then squeaked out 3 1-goal wins. I believe 2 of them were in overtime. Just they fought their way back into it, and honestly, really, we stole one.
Okay. Well, still, congratulations to the Monkeys on their Week 8 win. Next, we'll be moving on to the Adept League. So, to start things off, we got the Colts at the Vipers. Colts sitting at 4-2, Vipers sitting at 2-4. Laggy, who do you have?
Colts in 5.
Okay, KJ.
Colts in 4.
Colts in 4. Okay. Blade, who do you have?
I'll take the Vipers in 4.
The Vipers in 4. Okay. I'm a really big fan of Rico and Sticks, and usually they are a second season team, or not second season, but second half of the season team. And I wouldn't be surprised if this might be the game that starts getting them, that where they start turning around. So I'm gonna go with Vipers in 5. Meanwhile, our PRC has the Vipers winning in 5 as well, taking the win over the Colts. Next, we have the 3-3 Coyotes taking on the 5-1 Hornets. Blade, who do you have?
I'm gonna take the Hornets in 4.
Okay. KJ?
I'm going to be the different person. I'm going to take the Coyotes in 5.
Laggy?
Hornets in 4.
Okay. I think I will also take the Hornets in 4. The Coyotes look like they're a good team, but I think the Hornets might just be a little bit too much for them. And our PRC agrees that they actually have the Hornets taking it in game 5. Next, we have the 1-4 Huskies taking on the Monkeys, who are 0-6. Now, I'm just gonna ask all of you guys because this is somewhat of a close series, close in skill level at least, match. Who do you guys have as a general consensus taking this game?
Huskies via forfeit.
I'd say Huskies as well.
I'm with the Monkeys. I gotta go with them. No, I gotta go with them no matter what. There's no bias here. It's just because I really appreciate the Monkeys for no particular reason. I think they can maybe take this.
Yeah. When I saw the Monkeys forfeit loss last week, I thought it might have been, maybe a lack of morale, but apparently it was because they couldn't field a player.
They couldn't, and they weren't able to pull up a player from our origin team either.
So I think the chances of them having back-to-back forfeits like that is a little slim. Uh, I would like to see the Monkeys get a victory here, so I'll go for them. Maybe in 4 games, 3-1. And the PRC has the Huskies winning 3-1 actually. So after that, we have the Rams at the Gators. Now, this match also concluded. It concluded yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it had the Rams winning 3-1 over the Gators. Which I think it's a little bit surprising that it it was a 3-1 victory, considering that these teams are been the Rams were 5-2 and that the Gators are 4-2. On top of that, wow, we had our PRC. The PRC had the Rams taking this, also in 4 games. Look at that. All right, moving on. We have the Dragons sitting at 4-2, going against the Seagulls 2-4. KJ, who do you have?
Dragons in. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna say the Dragons because this is. I feel like this could be a close one.
Okay. Blade, who do you have?
I think I'm going to take the Seagulls in 5. I think I think there's possibility for an upset.
And Laggy?
I think it's gonna be Dragons in 4.
Okay. I am gonna take the Dragons on this one as well. I think they just have a little bit too offense. They might be a little bit too much for the Seagulls to handle. But I'd love to be proven wrong. The PRC also has the Dragons taking this in a game 5 actually. After that, we have the Griffins, who are 3-3, taking on the Owls, 4-2. Blade, who do you have?
I think I'm going to go with the Owls in 4 there.
In 4, okay. KJ?
I'm gonna go with the Owls in 3.
Laggy.
Griffins in 5.
Griffins in 5. Ooh, I think this is a tough match. I've seen the Postman play. I think I'm gonna lean a little bit towards the Owls here. Maybe in 5. Sorry, Cyprock. But I'm gonna go with the Owls in 5. Our PRC has the Owls also taking it in 5. Um, next we have the 2-4 Hydras taking on the 1-5 Penguins. Laggy.
Hydras in 4.
Hydras in 4. Okay, KJ.
I love me some Scooter action, so I'm gonna take the Penguins in 5.
I like to hear it. Blade.
I also like the sound of that. I'll take the Penguins in 5. Just seems like that they could use a win.
Yeah, I am also inclined to agree with you guys. I've played with Scooteroo for 2 seasons. I love the man. I would like to see him get a victory here. So I'm going to go with the Penguins in 4. Our PRC has the Hydras taking this in game 5. Next, we have the Unicorns sitting at 4-2, taking on Bondo, who's sitting at 4-2. KJ, who do you have?
Oh, Eagles in 3 easily.
Wow, okay. It seems like there's
Hey,
some
and
context I'm missing.
and the only reason why I say that is because the way that I've seen the Unicorns play for the past 2 weeks, they seem to be running into a little bit of a struggle. So the way the Eagles mix together, I think they're able to take this one 3-0.
Okay, okay.
Just to give some context.
Blade, who do you have?
I think the Eagles are going to take it in 5. I still think the Unicorns are going to give them a fight.
Okay. Laggy?
I think Eagles in 4.
Eagles in 4. Okay. Uh I think I'm I think I'm just gonna go for the Eagles. They look slightly better. They have some good players on their team. Yeah, maybe in 4, maybe in 5. Who
Yeah,
knows?
there's some guy on there that's like who's absolutely cracked. I can't remember what his name is. I think it's 007 Bondo.
And lastly, our PRC has the Eagles taking the victory over here, 3-2 over the Unicorns. Now we move on to Expert League. We're gonna be kicking things off with the Huskies, who are sitting at 1-5, taking on the Colts, who are 4-2. Blade, who do you have?
Uh, Again, I'm going to go with the Colts on that one. Going to have them taken in 5.
In 5, okay, okay. Laggy, who do you have?
Colts in 4.
Colts in 4, okay. AJ?
I'm gonna double down on Laggy. Colts in 4.
I think I'm also gonna triple down. I think Colts in 4. I think that Huskies A lineup, if they do play it, is no joke. And I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to squeeze a game out from the Colts. Our PRC has the Colts winning with a clean sweep. That's wow. Okay. Next, Hornets are undefeated Hornets who are sitting at 6-0, taking on the Coyotes who are 2-4. Laggy, who do you have?
Hornets in 5. I'm just taking a wild guess. It's gonna be a close one.
Okay, KJ.
Just to make Ant mad, I'm gonna pick the Coyotes in 5.
All right, Blade.
I wanted to be a bit contrarian as well. I was also going to say Coyotes in 5.
I've scrimmed against this Coyotes team. Their A lineup is no joke. They're pretty competitive. I've seen them take a couple of games to game 5. I would not be surprised if they take this to game 5, but I still do think the Hornets are going to be a little bit too much, but I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to game 5, but my bet is on the Hornets. And our PRC is also betting on the Hornets in game 5 as well. Huh. Look at that. Next, we have the Monkeys, 4-2, taking on the Vipers, who are 1-5. Blade, who do you got?
Monkeys in 3.
Monkeys in 3. Okay. No bias. I see. It's a very clear matchup. Monkeys are 4-2, Vipers are 1-5. There's no bias here at all. I love it. I love the prediction. KJ.
I think the Vipers shock the world, and I think they take down the Monkeys, but I think they do it in 5.
In 5. Okay. Laggy, who do you got?
I was actually thinking Monkeys in 3.
Monkeys in 3. Okay, you think they clean sweep the Vipers?
Yeah.
I think the Monkeys do take the victory here. But I think the Vipers might be able to squeeze a game out of the Monkeys. So I would say Monkeys in 4. And we have our PRC predicting Monkeys in 4 as well. Next, we have the Dragons, who are sitting at 3-3, taking on the Penguins, who are 5-1. KJ, I'm going to kick things off with you.
Oh man, I really wish you hadn't. This is a tough one because the Dragons are a solid squad. Penguins are a solid squad. Um, I can tell you that this one's probably going to go to 5, but I think the Penguins are going to be able to edge it.
Okay. Blade, who do you have?
Again, I'm going to try to be spicy here. I will take the Dragons in 5. I'm not going to sit there and let a 5-1 record think that's going to get them a win.
Okay. Laggy, do you agree?
I say Dragons in 4. I know just recently they got some new players. I think this is gonna help them out.
Okay. The Dragons did get some new players, and I do think that's going to help them out in the long run, but I find it hard to see it helping them here against the Penguins. I think the Penguins are just on another level, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Dragons squeeze out 1 or 2 games against them. But overall, I have the Penguins winning, and our PRC team has the Penguins taking this in a 3-1 series score. After that, we have the Hydras who were sitting at 3-3, taking on the Eagles, who were sitting also at 3-3. Now, this match already concluded. This match did indeed conclude, and we have the results. The Eagles swept the Hydras. And the reason why I was so hesitant to talk about this is because this is my team taking on KJ's team. And KJ, I wanted to get
No comment
your
for the
thoughts.
press at this time.
No comments.
No
Okay,
comments for the press at this time.
that's fair. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, it was not the outcome I personally was expecting either. But our PRC team had the Eagles winning 3-1. Next, and for our final match of expert, we have the Seagulls 2-4 taking on the Unicorns 2-4. Laggy, who do you have?
Unicorns in 5.
Unicorns in 5. Okay, I like it. Blade, who do you have?
I'm going to take the Seagulls in 5.
KJ?
Okay, we can move on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna say the unicorns. Seagulls have been in a struggle. Unicorns in 4.
Unicorns in 4. Okay. I do like that Reaper and Drax combo, but apparently Atlas has been popping off on the unicorns as well. Mm, I think I'll go with the Seagulls here in 5. Yeah, 5. And our PRC has the Seagulls also taking this in 5. All right. That wraps up Expert League. We'll move on to Star League. With Star League, we have the Colts who are sitting at 1 and 5, taking on the Vipers who are sitting at 3 and 2. KJ, who do you have?
I'm gonna take the Colts in 5.
Okay.
I know, big surprise, right?
Yeah, big surprise.
Gotta go with the underdog.
I like it. I like it. Laggy, who do you have?
Vipers in 4.
Vipers in 4. Okay, Blade.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Vipers in 5. I think that Colts team can give them a run for their money.
Okay.
Colts.
I think I'm gonna go with the Vipers, maybe in 4. Our PRC has the Vipers winning this in 3, actually. Next we have the Coyotes 4 and 2 taking on the Hornets 4 and 2. Laggy, who do you have?
I'm gonna go Hornets in 5.
Hornets in 5. Okay, okay. Blade.
I'm gonna go Coyotes in 5.
Coyotes in 5. All right, we got some back and forth going. KJ, where are you going?
Hornets in 4.
Hornets in 4. Okay. I think I'll go. I think I'm gonna go Coyotes just to keep things spicy. Coyotes in 4. And our PRC has the Hornets winning in 5. Okay. Huskies 4 and 1, taking on the Monkeys who are 3 and 3. Blade, who do you have?
Monkeys in 3.
Monkeys in 3. Okay. KJ?
Huskies in 4.
Huskies in 4. I think you just made yourself an enemy.
That's fine. I have plenty of them. They can't get to me.
Laggy, who do you have?
Also Huskies in 4.
Okay. I'll root for the underdog here. Let's go. Let's go Monkeys in 5. And then we have our PRC having the Huskies winning in 4 games. Next, we have the Rams 2 and 4 taking on the Gators, also 2 and 4. KJ, who do you have?
Gators, because I love me some Robot Man.
All right, I like me some Robot Man as well. I think I'll also predict the Gators. Why not? In 4. Blade, who do you have?
Yeah, I'll take the Gators in 4. I got to watch Robot play last week, and he looked great.
Okay, Laggy.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Rams in 4 because hopefully they won't be versing an A lineup for once in their lives.
All right, all right. And our Star League PRC has the Gators sweeping the Rams.
Wait, okay.
Interesting. Um, Next we have the 5 and 1 Dragons taking on the 4 and 2 Seagulls. Laggy, do you have anything to say about this match?
Dragons in 3, no doubt. No doubt.
Oh,
Cleanest sweep you'll ever see.
okay, okay, I like it. Blade, what about you?
Yeah, I'll take the Dragons in 4.
All right, KJ.
I will also take the Dragons in 3. And Laggy, I swear to God, if you let me down, I'm going to be so mad at you that you will be receiving DMs from me for the next week.
Just to stir the pot here, I'll say Seagulls in 5. How about that?
It's okay to be wrong.
Okay. Look, our PRC has the Dragons clean sweeping the Seagulls.
I didn't even notice
Okay. Wow. Interesting. Next, we have the Griffins 4 and 2 taking on the Owls. KJ, who do you have?
Griffins in 4.
Okay. Blade?
I think the Griffins are going to take it in 3.
All right. So Laggy?
I think Owls in 4.
Owls in 4. Okay. Uh, I think the Griffins will take this. Let's say game 4, and then our PRC has the Griffins taking this over the Owls in 4 games as well. Next we have the 3-3 Hydras taking on the Penguins, who are 3-3 as well. Laggy, who do you got?
Hydras.
Okay.
Hydras in 3.
All right. Hydras in 3. Okay. KJ.
Yeah, I think the PRC might have been drunk for this one, but I'm going to take the Hydras in 3 because the Penguins don't have Michael anymore.
Sorry, Penguins.
Blade.
Oh, you guys are being really mean to the Penguins. I'll take the Penguins in 4. I believe.
Uh, I think I will also take the Hydras here. Uh, in 4 as well. And let's look at our PRC. Our PRC has the Penguins winning 3-1 over the Hydras.
Again, the
And,
reason why I said they were drunk when they did this.
and finally, we have the 3-3 Unicorns taking on the 0-6 Eagles. Blade, who do you have?
I think the Eagles finally get their win, and they're going to do it in 5.
Okay, KJ.
I love my boy Alpha Doggy, but Eagles are having too much of a rough season. I'm going to take the Unicorns in 3.
Okay, and Laggy.
Unicorns in 4.
Unicorns in 4. You know, it's the Eagles. It's my boys. I can't go against them. Why can't this be the week that they finally win? They'll do it in 5. And
I'm
our
sorry.
PRC says no. They say Unicorns win in 4. All right, on to our final league predictions wise. We have Elite League. Let's make this quick. You guys don't even need to give me a series score. Just tell me who you think you're gonna win. Who you think is gonna win. Our first match has already concluded. So the Monkeys, who were 3-3, took on the Eagles, sitting at 2-4, and the Eagles took it 3-1.
Wow.
After
Sag.
that, sorry about that,
No,
Blade.
the only reason why I said wow was because after the performance Cryptic put on last week.
Yeah, kind of surprised
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
After that, we have the Huskies 4-2 taking on the Griffins, who are 0-6. Laggy, who do you have?
Huskies.
All right, Blade,
I'll take the Griffins.
KJ.
Huskies.
I will take the Huskies as well because I believe the Elite Griffins only have 1 player. So
Look, look. If the Elite Griffins have 1 fan, I am that fan.
I respect it. I respect it. All right, next we have the Gators sitting at 4-2 taking on the Hydras, who are undefeated. KJ,
Hydras.
Blade,
Gators.
Laggy.
Hydras.
I think I will also take the Hydras, even if it goes to game 5. Next, Colts 3-3 taking on the Owls, who are sitting at 2-4. Blade.
I'm going to take the Owls.
Okay. Laggy.
Owls.
And KJ.
They're gonna take the Owls.
Okay. I guess I'll stand here alone and take go for the Colts. The PRC respectively had the Monkeys taking the win in Game 5 over the Eagles. They have the Huskies sweeping the Griffins. They have the Gators taking the win over the Hydras in Game 5. And then they have the Colts sweeping the Owls. So that wraps up our Elite League predictions. And that is going to it's going to wrap up our episode of FDL Central this week. Now, before we go, I would love to give a special thanks and shout out to our guest this week. Blade, thank you so much for making the time to come onto this week's episode and providing your insight, especially, being an Origin League player. I know sometimes, you guys might not get as much spotlights, and I'm glad to provide that for you guys, and I'm glad for you to be here.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a fantastic opportunity. I've really enjoyed this.
Likewise. And next, I'd like to thank you, Laggy, for being on the show today. It was a little bit of a short notice, and I'm glad you were able to accommodate and come on with such short notice. And being a Star League player, it's great to have your insight here on today's show, especially with you being Player of the Week. You know, I think it provides a unique perspective outside of just being a Star League player. You're one of the best there in your league, and I think you bring a lot. You brought a lot to tonight's show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed it.
And finally, I'd like to give a big thank you to KJ. Not only was he a guest tonight, but he was also the host of FDL Central, and he also provided he also provided me the opportunity with being your new host, and I I can't say thank you enough for the opportunity. You've definitely helped me in FDL from starting all the way back from bringing me onto the Adept Eagles and us making our run straight to the playoffs, and up to now where you know we're competing against each other. You're bringing me onto the show. You've made me the host. There, you've been an incredible host, an incredible mentor, and an incredible friend. Thank you, KJ.
More than happy to be of service.
And I'd also love to give a big shout out to Robot, who's been our streamer for tonight and put together all the wonderful sheets, screens, everything that you guys saw tonight on tonight's show. And he did it in such short work. This man has been busting his butt this past week, putting together everything to make sure that all my ideas came to fruition and was available for you guys, the viewers, tonight. Now, that's all the special thanks and everything that I have for everybody who's been a part of tonight's show. Thank you everyone for tuning in to tonight's episode of FDL Central, your source for all things FDL. Catch us next week, same day, same time to get the latest and greatest FDL information. And keep an eye out for our next Player of the Week polls. They're going to be coming out. They should be coming out on Mondays right after FDL weekend action so that you guys can go back, you guys can watch after watching everything when everything's still fresh in your mind. You guys vote for your best players, all right? Speaking of which, we do have some upcoming FDL action starting with our Elite League. We have the Elite Hydras taking on the Gators at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You don't want to miss that high octane gameplay. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.